Only been a few hours, but it felt like days. Only been days, but it felt like months. Been gone for years.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maxine, aka She's on Purpose, and to the right of me, I have my beautiful daughter.
It's Shayla, also known as Mashayla. And
Today, we are coming to you with a question and answer session.
At this point, I give up. Okay. Somebody got to say it.
We are not deleting that part. My daughter and I, we talk a lot, and a lot of the conversations that we have, I feel that there are other parents, other teenagers, other people out here that can actually benefit from the conversations that we have because there's a lot going on in the world. We have three topics. The first topic is going to be mental health. Mental health in school, in college, mental health overall. So we actually worked on this a couple of days, and so we have questions for each other that we are going to ask. And I actually wrote mine down because this is how we started. And then she, you know how
I'm
to
a
those
fancy text girl.
you know how the millennial babies gotta be.
I'm not a millennial.
Okay, Gen Z. Okay, you know they gotta be fancy. I am a pen and paper girl all day long. Okay, so um, she's getting ready to go back to her second year in college, and we talked about the first year, and I just realized how challenging it was for her in her first year. But she chose rise to the occasion, and I was so very proud of her and the person she had become when she came back home. So, right now, we're going to talk about how is your current mental state going back to school. And I think you leave in what, 4 days? 5 days. We just wanted to I just wanted to sit down and have a conversation with her. So, how is your current mental state going back to school?
My current mental state is a lot stronger now than when I first got into college or first was going to college because I didn't know what to expect. Now I'm able to know what to expect and I'm more balanced now. So I know that I will be mentally okay and okay overall. So I'm good mentally right now.
And so, what are some of the I know you were talking about your mental state when you entered last year, um, college. How was your mental state and how did it change when you entered college last year?
When I first entered college, my mental state was, you still have the high school mental state, like you still gonna do high school things. So that was pretty much my mental state of just doing enough just to get by. But that don't work in college. So when that hit me, that I realized that it don't work in college, I started getting discouraged and started wondering why I'm even in college. So I had to sit down and talk to myself and reevaluate some things for myself and let myself know that I can do it. Like I got this far, you know, I was a straight A student in high school. Like I could do it. I got this. So with that, I had to step up to the occasion and actually do my work. Don't procrastinate. Ask help. With that, I feel like it bettered me for my next semester to be able to do those things without being nervous.
Yeah, and one thing she mentioned is ask for help. A lot of people, oftentimes, even as adults, we will struggle and struggle and struggle, and we will not ask for help. Like I wanted to have this Q&A session with her because honestly, she has taught me so much mentally, physically, and emotionally. The tenacity that she has, the drive that she has, and so definitely always ask for help. Never be ashamed to ask for help. I know we were talking about like the changes and the shock that you went through going into college because you realized like there was no one there to really
Right,
wake
it was
you
no
up.
one to wake you up, no one to actually like tell you to go to classes or teachers. I remember in high school, anytime we had an essay, I would sit there Like the whole class period would be us writing an essay, and all the following classes will be the same until the essay was due. But we don't have that in college. In college, you get the assignment, they only gonna talk about it once, and that's it. And they're gonna keep teaching, keep teaching. So when I got to class the next day, I'm like, okay, we finna work on this essay. I really haven't been working on it for real. So we finna work on this essay. He went to everything else but the essay. So I'm like, I'm glad that I had a friend that I met in orientation that was in that class with me, because she was like, okay, so we're gonna do the essay together. I was like, yes, girl, let's do it together. Because first off, I don't know any of this. I don't know what's going on, and why he not helping us with this essay, because it's not
Yeah.
his job.
Yeah. So, a little backstory. She actually had AP classes in college, and
High school.
in high school. I'm sorry. She had AP classes in high school in which we went through. I was ready to strangle one of her teachers because I was like, I felt like she was playing with my child, but I never went to college, so I don't know what that looks like, and she did. So basically, I asked my daughter, I said, now do you feel like she was picking on you or do you think she was preparing you?
Um, I feel like she was more so preparing us, but I feel like she could have did it in a more sensible way.
Right.
Uh, how can I say it? She was hard on us, and instead
Very.
of like starting off soft and then going into hard like the here and then there, she just went straight there
Yeah, me and
and
this
just
lady
throwing us
was
in.
butting heads because, like, even when we went into the meeting, um, she was like being aggressive, and I was like, wrong parent, wrong. I was writing notes down, you know, because I'm just like, she's not understanding and she's telling you she's not understanding. And so, what I feel that did was it actually kind of gave her a preview. And this is what she told us in the meeting, it gave her a preview of what was to come. And so, for those of you who are going into college, it is going to be a little shock because when I believe you said you entered, it was like um, you feel like DC did not prepare you as
Yeah,
far as like entering college, as far as the curriculum goes and things like that.
yeah.
Elaborate a little bit more on that for me.
So in um, I went to a DC high school. I don't know about anybody else, but in DC high schools,
I feel like one of the best ones too.
they hold your hand. They make sure you get your assignments done. They chase you around. Um, basically taking majority of the responsibilities away that we're going to have once we get to college. And then once you graduate high school, you are forced in like 3 months to have all these responsibilities, which is just so you won't have your parents to wake you up. Like I said before, you won't have your parents to wake up, and then your professor isn't going to hold your hand. And I feel like DC didn't have didn't give us that. So when I had friends that came from like Charlotte, and they was just so headstrong and so like they knew what to do and how to do it and what they needed to do, I was stuck. I was like, I ain't never had to do this before. But their school didn't hold their hands. Their school didn't tell them like, oh, you have this assignment due. You know what you have to do. Get it done, and act like you're a rising adult. So with that, DC didn't do that for us, and also they didn't have certain curriculums that are now being implemented in colleges. So let me think. Trigonometry and algebra. I had that as a class. I
You
never
had that
had
as a
that.
class and
I
where?
had that as a class in college. I never had that in high school. So when I got it in college, I was confused, and my professor was like, "Oh, you should have learned this in high school." I didn't.
And to piggyback off of that, I actually learned algebra in high school, and I graduated in '96. So DC, what are y'all doing? Like, what are y'all doing? Really? And I know for a fact that there are people or there are kids in DC that are just being pushed along just so they can kind of get out. And I feel like you guys are not preparing these students to go out here in society or to college and actually succeed. You just want them out. And that was one of the things that she had touched on. And I thought that was very interesting because um, there's a lot of things I thought she knew, but she didn't know. And, you know, not she's a very easy, like she learns very quickly and things like that. But it was things that, like, for instance, what was the conversation we was having? Someone asked
Continents.
what was the capital
Yeah,
of,
capital.
it was something, and I immediately said Des Moines. I forgot, and she's like, "How do you know that?" And I'm like, "We learned that in school." And
We
she's
didn't
like,
learn that.
"We did not learn that." And I'm
We
like,
did not do
"What?
that.
Y'all didn't learn? We had to learn the capitals, the continents. We had to learn the planets, like."
We learned the planets, the continents. That's pretty much all we learned.
Yeah, and so it was just like an eye opener for me, like, wow. And my son graduated from high school back in 2015, and I just remember saying I felt he was not prepared to go to college. I felt like the school had failed him. I'm not going to mention the school, but I felt like the school had failed him along with their class, because they were the last class in that building. And so I think it was more so about them getting that class out of that building,
Mm-hmm.
graduating, and then moving into the new building. So, DC, this is a plea to do better with your curriculum and preparing your students. Okay. Next question. Have you ever struggled with mental health issues?
Yes. Uh, in college, I wasn't like before college. I wasn't really struggling with mental health. I was like, well, party. I mean, just be happy. Like I'm young, but in college, I didn't have my mom, I didn't have my dad, so most of the responsibility was on me unless I told them like, hey, I need help with this, I need that. They were very supportive with me in college and helped me a lot for things that I couldn't do myself. But when it comes to actually like getting to college, you see everybody style, you see everybody motivation, and you start thinking like, oh, you know what you about to do for your future, and it started making me think like, what do I actually want to do in my future? So me thinking that, it started throwing extra questions like, what are you here for? You can't do this, and start eating myself up.
Mm,
So I had to sit down with myself and talk to myself like, you can do this. Why you keep saying you can't do this? Like you got here, you got accepted to multiple colleges. You got accepted to LSU, you got accepted to Clark, you got accepted to all these colleges. So why can't you think? Why do you think you can't do it? I was discouraged because everybody had, like, they knew what degrees they wanted to get, they knew how they was gonna get there. I didn't. Okay, I didn't know. So I had to, how can I say, I had to sit down with myself on that topic too and ask myself, what do I want to do and how to get there. So then I started thinking about interior designing because I love to decorate and I love to design spaces. So that's what really that part of me came from. So yeah, that was just trying to figure out who I am as a person, what I like and what I don't like, what I want to eat, what I don't want to eat. Just being me as a person, it was something that I had to struggle with.
yeah, in an environment that you'd never been in, around people you never been around.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes we can be influenced by, the outside world. And
Right.
sometimes influence is not bad if it's good.
Right.
And so the things that she struggled with, um, because of the people that she had around her, facilitated these thoughts within her, in which it began to tell her, that she wasn't worthy because she did not know, what her minor or her major was, or like, what am I here for? All these questions. And these are things that we go through as adults, right? And what I'm realizing, even like talking to my daughter, and that's why I wanted to have this conversation, is that if we can't process these conversations in our head as children, we cannot process them as adults. We grow up with these, we grow up as, a child basically in an adult body, unable to really process. So one of the things that she told me, and I was just like so proud of her, was she said she had to go and sit with her thoughts. And a lot of us cannot sit with our thoughts because it's just running rampant and rampant and rampant. And she was able to actually sit with her thoughts, tell her thoughts, no, that's not true about me. Tell her thoughts, no, I can do this. Tell her thoughts, I'm going to do this. And a lot of people are not that strong minded to do that. That's why, you see a lot of people committing suicide because they believe the lies in their head. They believe the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that they're feeling just like in that moment. And one moment can cause a lifetime of pain.
Right.
And so teach your child to be able to sit quietly with their thoughts. Even, start asking questions like, why do you feel that way? Like, what brought that feeling on? For her, I know like she told me, it was an adjustment. She'd never been away from us. She'd never, been away on her own. And she said she was taken out of an environment where um, she immediately had all these responsibilities of getting up, getting to class by herself, and these classes are not side by side. Like you got to go from one side to the other, and a lot of it, like you got to make sure you have your own food. You got to go, to the grocery store or get groceries. Like, luckily, she had us. We Instacarted her spoiled tail, but we made sure she had food. But there's a lot of students in college that I realized didn't have that support. Is I was talking to my daughter, and like it's just some of her friends or some of the people that she knew, they just really didn't have that support. And so when you want something so bad, but you don't have the backing, that can actually be traumatic to you.
Yeah.
Um, and so again, I'm gonna go back to what she said. Ask for help. There are um, I reached out to her school and they just let me know like there were different programs there that could help them, different things. Like I feel like as a parent, you have to, this is one of the things that I did not do with my son, just because again, I did not know, I wasn't aware, but I'm very active with calling the school, checking her grades, making sure she's doing what she's supposed to do. When she has a problem, I'm on it ASAP because I know that if she has a problem, it's gonna she's gonna have to deal with that and process that mentally. And I want to be as supportive as possible. And what I want her to do is be able to be comfortable enough to do her work and to know that when you're uncomfortable, I'm uncomfortable. So I have to, you know, be mama bear and cut up sometimes, maybe. I don't care. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I shows up. She know that. And so, I just say, like, as a parent with your child going to school, don't just drop them off, don't just leave them, talk to them. That's one thing I didn't do. I did not talk to my son every day to understand what his mental. I just felt like my son is so mentally strong, or I felt like my son was so mentally strong, and I felt like he was physically capable of doing the things that he needed to do. But what I'm realizing is that, and I took him, dropped him off, and I felt like he would just get it done, right? And once she got to school, what I realized was, dang, I think I failed my son because I should have been checking on him. I should have been making sure that he was good. Like, are you good mentally? Are you good physically? Do you have food? Like, I'm sending him food, I'm making sure he has, but sometimes that's not what it is about. It's about a person's mental health because, again, you're thrown into something you can only prepare for. You're thrown into something that you can't even prepare for. Let me just say that.
Right.
That's not anything that she would have been prepared for. But the great thing about it was that she rose to the occasion. She had the roommate from hell. It was a constant situation every time you turned around, and it was constant. So she was battling not just that, struggling through her class, her trigonometry class, and just trying to get all of the assignments done and going through everything that she was going through. Food, it is lightning and thundering outside, y'all. Just gotta tell y'all. So if y'all see us over here looking a little crazy, it is lightning and thundering. So please bear with us. We're gonna try to get through this as much as possible. But my grandma used to say, girl, cut them lights off and shut up. Okay. So, anywho.
And I also want to say, for kids going into college, don't be afraid to communicate with your mother. Don't be
Or your parent.
your guardian. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid to communicate. Like if you know you at a class that you probably can't get through, it's okay to tell them that. Or if you struggling with something, tell them that, because yes, you are new to college and you do have these responsibilities. They can still tell you, okay, you need to go talk to them, or talk to them. Okay, I'm gonna call and see who we can talk to, and then you could talk to them. So don't be afraid, because your parent is going to give you a solution to your problem. So don't be afraid to communicate to your parent of what's going on, and keep them in the loop in college, because you're gonna need it.
Yeah, and parents, I would say like my when she aced everything else. She went through and did like an amazing job with all her classes. But she kept telling me from the beginning that she didn't think she was going to make it with the trigonometry. Again, she did not take algebra or trigonometry in high school. So to be introduced to college trigonometry and algebra, I don't know if you took algebra, but I took algebra
Geometry.
yeah, I took pre-algebra, algebra 1, 2, and 3 in college. I mean, in high school. So I probably would have been prepared. I don't know if you've ever taken it, but baby, that's not something you just throw somebody into in college, okay? If they've never taken it in
Especially
high
trigonometry
school.
part.
Yeah. So she struggled. But long story short, she fought through, and she did not win, but she had to come back again, and she was determined. This summer she took more than enough classes this summer, and I thought she was crazy because I was like, why would you take all these classes this summer, and to include the class that she failed during, is it okay to say that? Okay, I'm sorry. But to include the class she failed last semester, and she passed. Needless to say, she passed them all this summer with flying colors. And I honestly was afraid because I was like, oh my God, there she's taking 3 classes. Mind you, these classes are condensed from 6 months to 30 days. So when I say my child was nowhere to be found, like she was coming out of the room like she was in jail, going to get something to eat, going to the bathroom, and back in the room. That's what it was. And the level of commitment she had to this thing, like the other 2 classes, she didn't even have to take, she just took because she wanted to get ahead. That level of commitment to me showed me that she wants this success. So I want to say to the parents, like if your children are fighting for themselves, fight for them. But if you see that your child is not fighting, your child is failing class, your child is not showing up to class, your child is not going, then we may need to have a conversation because that might not be for your child. Don't
Yes.
send them don't send them back because this is you living vicariously through them. Because college is not for everybody.
Right.
It is not. Okay. I'm realizing that it's for her because I often ask her, do you think you can do it? And her question is, I have to do it. I mean, her answer is, I have to do it.
And I also want to say, don't, if you see your child struggling to go to classes and keeping up with with his or her classes, don't just pull them out of school. Have that conversation. Like literally, you have to have that conversation, because the first semester of college is not easy, because you have to, like, literally, my class was all the way on the other side of campus, and sometimes your child just don't feel like getting up and going there. But you have to sit down and have that conversation with your child, because maybe they can't have it with themselves. So you, as a parent, has to be the one to give that conversation to them and bring the problem to them and face it to them, because they probably don't want to face the problem. you have to make them face their problems sometimes.
Right. And when she say face their problem, what she is saying is that you got to ask them, is this something that you want? First and foremost. Because sometimes we can be sending them because it's something that we want, but we can't want something more than they want it, because if we want it more than they want it, they're not going to get it.
Right.
And so this was conversation after conversation I had with her prior to sending her, because I told her, like, if this is not something you want to do, you don't have to do it. You can find something else. And she told me she have to do it. She wants to do it. And everything she does shows me that she wants to do it. So I'm going to support that 100%. But I would say definitely have the conversation with your child before your child goes to school. Don't automatically assume that, oh, you're going to go to college because I'm saying so. Don't do that. How has college, you feel, affected? And I think you probably answered this. Okay, so let's go back. Would you encourage others to build a friend group going into college?
Yes, I do I highly recommend building a friend group, because my friend group, they be adamant. Okay, my friend Jayla, she be adamant. She would call me, "Why you not in class?" I remember I called her up. I was like, "I'm sick. I can't go to class." She's like, "Okay, just stay home, take some medicine, woo woo woo." Jayla called me, "Where you at? You need to get to class." "I'm sick." He's like, your mother know this?" "Yes." "Okay, good night. I'll see you later. Get better." So I feel like when you have those type of friends, they will push you more and push you harder than you can push yourself. So I recommend getting a friend group that is better than you. Honestly, get a
That can
friend group
pull you
that can
up.
pull you up. You don't want a friend group that always wants to party, always want to smoke, always do drugs, or always want to drink, when your goals are different than that. You want someone who will pull you up, who like, "Oh, you down here, let me help you."
Yeah.
You don't want no friends that like, "Oh, you down here, well, let's go smoke real quick."
To get through.
Right.
Yeah, you want those people around you that's going to add value to you. That's going to help you get through. What I found so profound was one day I was talking to my daughter, and she and all of her friends were in the
Library?
student center or library,
Mm-hmm.
and it was about 8 of them, boys included. They were all sitting around the table, and they were all doing their work, and they were pushing each other. And come on, friend, focus. We got this. And I was just like, that is so amazing,
Yeah.
because you need that. You don't want your child to go to college and just be alone and say, oh, they're just a loner by nature, because a loner by nature, you never know what that loner by nature is thinking, or doing.
Right.
You want them to be around people who can help them when they're down. Like she said, when she was sick, she was really sick. Like we had to get her medication and everything. Like it was bad. I really thought she had COVID, but I couldn't get to her. So I'm like, listen, we gonna send you this medicine, and hopefully you get better, friend. But she might have getting better. But yeah, she definitely lets me know if she can't make the class, and I think that's only been like one time.
Mm-hmm.
She even went in the rain. We had to send her an umbrella. Like my girl was wet, but she went. So that's just another thing. Um, she was able to communicate that to me. So it's very important that we talk about, not just like, oh, you don't, just getting around people who can encourage and motivate you and activate something in you that you didn't even know was there. Because I see her friends. I see when she came back, like I see a different person. I see the same person, but I see a different person heightened. Like she's been able to help me and encourage me and then motivate me to be consistent. She's been, able to tell me that she believes in me, or show me that she believes in me. And that's my child. So I'm saying, like, if that helped me to do the little things that I'm doing. Just imagine if you have friends around you and they're all pouring into you. So it's very important to, I would say, build a friend group that can help you through, because every day is not going to be a good day.
Yeah. And I also want to say you do want to live your life a little bit in college, but you also want to have friends that can balance as well. My friends are real good at balancing. That I even had to step up and learn how to balance my work and party life and community, my social life with my friends. So
Right. And then I think I had wrote down, you said, always be okay with saying no.
yes, always be okay with saying no. Because at first, when I first got to campus, I always want to be with my friends and cling to my friends because at home it's just me and my cousin, so it's just us. In college, it's all of me. It's five friends. Like we always doing something. So I never wanted to miss out on anything. I always wanted to be included. But I had to step back and tell myself, you can't do that because you got classes, you got grades that you need to be worried about and concerned about. So you got to step back and tell them no. No, I can't come out to party. No, I can't come to the game room real quick. No, I'm gonna go ahead and do my work real quick. When I'm finished, then we can play pool. Like sometimes you just gotta say no.
Right, right. And one of the things you said is that college made me more proactive. And you talked about how, um, and I'm gonna give you these two questions together because I think they would. What would you say to kids entering school, into entering college? And you said college made me more proactive. You talked about how you created a schedule for yourself, and the certain things that you did to help yourself succeed. Elaborate a little bit more for me.
Some advice I would give to anyone that's going into college: one, set a schedule. I use the app Structure. You can simply go in there and then type all your whole schedule out with classes. If you want to work out, what time you're going to work out, it's able for you to do that for like the whole month or like the whole year if you really wanted to. So I use Structure to help me. And also with my classes, you are put your classes on a calendar. For me, I use calendars on my computer, and you could just simply put your classes on your computer. And with that, it would go to all your devices that you have, and it would notify you on all devices, which makes it easier for you to know what you have to do and what needs to be done. Also, don't be afraid to ask your professor to help. Don't be afraid to go to office hours. Just because you need to go to office hours doesn't mean that you're slow or that you don't get it or that you're a nerd. It just means that you're trying. It just means that you're trying. So go to office hours, get that help that you need, and speak up for yourself. Be an advocate for you because you're the only one that's in college. No one else is going to be an advocate for you. Be an advocate for yourself.
That's right. That's right. And the thing is, no one else is coming. No one's coming to rescue you. No one's coming to rescue you, and that's what I'm learning in life. You have to rescue yourself. You have to, um, especially when, as it pertains to, your schedule, being able to get up and get to your classes on time, being able to get your assignments in the day that they do before
Mm-hmm.
11:59, and you know, it's been times that I've talked to her 3 o'clock in the morning, and she's been up like, I'm like, child, don't you got school? Like, don't you got class like 8 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, mama, I'm gonna get there. And she literally running off of 3 hours of sleep, but she gets to that 8 o'clock class. So it's about the level of commitment. How bad do you want it? And I actually wrote that down. How bad, it depends on how bad you want it, not how bad your mother wanted, your father wanted, not how bad anybody else wanted, but how bad do you want
And I
it?
also want to say, when waking up, my father taught me this actually. When waking up, if you got a class at 8 o'clock, wake up at like 6 or 7. 6. I mostly wake up 6, so it gives me that hour to like lollygag just a little bit so I can get my life together so I can feel like I'm awake. You don't want to wake up your class at 8 o'clock and you wake up at 7:30 and now you gotta rush around and you still exhausted and you still tired. So wake up at like
Trying to pull
5,
yourself
right?
together.
Wake up at like 5, maybe 6 to give yourself that longevity of just relaxing just a little bit so you can have some breathable time. So that's my take.
Okay, and we talked about.
And this is one thing
I
my
think
papa gonna do. He's gonna get up 3 hours before he has
and do that
to.
man got to be to work at 6 o'clock. The man is up at 3. Okay, He say he drink his coffee, gotta use the bathroom, do all kind of things, child. I don't know why that man's up there early, but hey, she get that from him too, cause she, as soon as he up, she be like, "Hi, daddy." Like, why the hell? Why are you up? But anyway, so I think this is gonna be my last question. We talked about. Oh well, maybe not. What would you say to the person? Oh, we already said that. Um, what would you change about yourself?
I say procrastination. I do have a tendency of procrastinating or pushing things off, and you can't do that in college. You can't do that in college because just like I had those 3 classes pushed into a month, it was no time for me to sit down and like, oh, just scroll on TikTok or just sit down and watch an hour long movie. No, I turned on the show, ignored the show, and did work consistently. Like I had to get all my work done in that day or before that day, just so I can have a weekend to myself. So imagine that in college and you got like 6 classes. So you would have to you would have to do your work when it's done. Like when you hear about the assignment, get started on it. If you have an essay on it, start brainstorming. Start typing up your brainstorm and get out your first introduction to your paragraph. That way you won't have to worry about having your essay done or worried about when it's coming around. Always, always, always do your work when it's time. Okay. I always like to submit my assignments like a day before, so that way if my teacher need me to resubmit the assignment or let me know if anything is wrong with the assignment, and they will most definitely email you and be like, hey, like it's a little off, or use this instead of this. Your format is a little off. Can you fix it? So always upload your assignment day before it's due, so they can give you feedback.
Good advice. I like that. Okay, so we have touched mainly on, her going back to school and um, her ability to be successful. So going back to school, you feel a lot more confident, a lot more successful. You feel
Yes.
acclimated
Yes.
to being in your classes and things like that.
Yes.
You've done a amazing job. I'm super proud of you. Um, the drive, the tenacity, the will that you have, it is unmatched. And I just want to say that to you. It is very important that we pour into our children. I just want to say this really quickly. Did y'all hear that?
Mm, I'm gonna scoot over there. I'm the one close to the window.
Y'all, we might be going down. But listen. So, Um, one time she was having a really hard time and she was struggling through some things that I won't even mention, but it was just like she was struggling with this in class and well, I'm going to mention it. It was like kind of dealing with her class and an audition that she wanted to do and some things that she wanted to do. And I had a tendency as a parent to be like, what is wrong with you? Just woo, 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 as a parent. And because I am growing and developing and going through a self developmental process with myself, I have to understand that, like, people go through things, even though that's a child, that child is still going through things. And her feelings, her thoughts, her emotions are very valid. And so, what is it that I can say to make her want to keep going and not make her want to give up? Because if I'm yelling and screaming, what the fuck is wrong with you? Saying all the things that I would have said before, being the person that I was, it would have deterred her and it would have ultimately traumatized her. So I actually pointed out all the things that she did do. Like, you got yourself this interview, you got yourself to college, you did all of this. We didn't do any of this. I pointed out the positives versus the negatives, and just let her know, like, you are worthy, you are more than enough. So don't ever think that because you failed or that you didn't get something, that it's not, um, you have now you don't want to do it, so you're gonna give up.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something you said to me the other day about failure and success. I think that you said you heard.
Oh, yeah, it's a quote I heard. It was said, when you fail, just remember it's a one step closer to success.
Bruh, why when we do this video, it gotta be so loud outside? Like, what is God trying to tell us?
Hopefully they can hear it.
But anywho, forgive us. I hope I don't know if I'm gonna edit that part out the video anyway. But anyway, okay. So that was your phone is doing something.
Full storage.
Oh Lord, why you recording on your iPad?
My questions are on the iPad.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. I got enough.
All right. So we are bringing this segment to an end. This is actually going to be a 3-part series because it's just long, but needs to be said. But we are going to bring this segment to an end. I think I have one. Okay, so the one thing we discussed is like, what are some of the tools you need? Definitely, kids, parents, when you send in your kids, have faith. Send them with the Bible. Teach them to pray over themselves. Like my child see me praying, she gets her Bible. I didn't even tell her to get her Bible. She gets her Bible. She reads her Bible. Teach your child to anoint themselves. Teach your child to be covered in the word and know what God says about them and know how to pray their way out, know how to pray their mental health back to a healthy place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just teach your kids to be healthy in that sense when it comes to mental health. Support their decisions, whether it's not something you agree with or whether it's something you agree with or not. Support your child decisions. And any final words?
Love yourself.
Love yourself.
Always love yourself.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. We will be back with another video. Again, my name is Maxine, aka She's on Purpose.
It's
Follow
Shayla, aka Mashayla.
Follow her at it's Shayla with 3 A's.
2 A's.
2 A's. It's Shayla with 2 A's at the end on her Instagram. I'm sorry, on her YouTube. And I will be putting our handles in this video somewhere. So please watch, subscribe, like, comment, share this video with someone you know that is sending their child to college, that has a college student, or send this to your child. Like you and your child sit down and watch it, because especially if they're a freshman and they're going into school, this is, I feel like, highly important for them. So thank you guys. God bless. We love you.